first things first, what am I going to do before I even start to thinking about graphing this thing? Keegan? Someone help Keegan out here. What are we going to do before we even start thinking about doing anything? Yep? Yep, draw a set of axes. So let's put that in first of all. That's what Keegan was going to say. Anyway. Okay. So there's my axes. Now I'm going to make a big jump here. I'm going to write 1 there. And I'm going to write 5 there. And I'm not going to write the numbers in between because I'm quite good at counting squares.
You are.
Okay, and so are you guys.
I can't count.
So if you are happy to, this is one way to make your graph just a little bit tidier. Okay. Right, Thomas. You don't want your name just labelled all over this video all the time, do you? Yeah. Okay. All right. So looking at this first question here, we've been asked to plot this, but it's asking us to use X-intercepts to do that. Now, what it means is instead of using gradient and y-intercept, we're going to find where it crosses the y-axis and where it crosses the x-axis. Okay? And the way we do that is by covering up one of the variables. So if I make x equal to 0, what does that do to 2x?
Nothing.
What's 2 times 0? 0. So if I made x equal to 0, that whole bit there would disappear. Now let's go back and look at our graph. And so if we look at our graph, like here, x is negative 5. Alright, here x is negative 1. And if we keep on going
Magic.
that's not what we want to happen. That's where we have this button. Okay. Then here we've got x is 1. Here we've got x is 2 and so on. What's special about where x is 0 on that graph? Yes. So we've got 0 for x here, and at 0 we have the y-axis. Okay, so when we make x equal to 0, the y value that we're left with is where it crosses the y-axis. So I'm going to put that in. So this one crosses the y-axis at negative 5. So there we go. There's our y-intercept. Now, this is where it gets different from the method that we did last time. Now, I'm going to look at my equation again. And this time, instead of crossing out x, I'm going to cross out y. Okay? So if y isn't there, what's on that side of the equals? How do we say nothing in maths? 0. So I can write this equation as 0 equals 2x minus 5. How am I going to solve this equation? Thomas?
Plus 5.
How am I going to solve this equation? Yep.
Plus 5 on both sides.
Okay, well plus 5 on both sides. So 2x equals 5. So what's x?
X equals 2.5.
Okay, so what that means is because we've made y equal to 0, where it's going to cross the x-axis is at x equals 2.5. So that's going to be halfway between 2 and 3. So there is where it's going to cross the x-axis. Okay? Now 2 points is actually all you need to make a line. Alright, so long as you're accurate, 2 points is all you need. So I'm going to use those 2 points to rule in my line. Okay? And there is my line. Okay, what have I still got to do before I finish that line?
Label it.
Yep, arrows at each end. Okay, and?
Label it.
Label it. So I'll unrub that out. So that's y equals 2x minus 5. Now that method we probably wouldn't usually use for that equation because you could just do the negative 5 for the intercept and up to a cross 1 for the gradient. But this next equation here, it's really useful for. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by finding my x-intercept by crossing out the y part. So if 5x equals 20, what's my x-intercept? 4. So I'm going to put a dot through the x-axis at 4. Okay, so there's my dot at 4. Alright, so now we'll look at covering up the x variable, and you guys could just do this with your finger if you're doing it in your own book. So what's y going to be? 5. Okay, so I'm going to have 5 on my y-axis. I've got 2 points, so I can join those together. And there's my line. What else does my line need, Keegan?
The arrows.
Okay. What else does my line need, Daniel? Dougal?
Question.
Yep, I need to label it with the equation. So that was 5x plus 4y equals 20. Okay? Alright, now underneath here you've got some work. So what you need to make sure when you're doing these is that you cover up with your finger one of the variables, and that will give you the answer for the intercept. Okay? If I covered up y for this one, what's my x-intercept going to be?
4.
Is it going to be 4?
0.
It's going to be negative 4 because I need to bring it over to the other side of the equals.
Jeepers.
Okay, so if Daniel, if you write that equation out, it would be 0 equals x plus 4. So you'd have to subtract 4 from both sides. So you'd have x equals negative 4. Okay? Alright, get to it everyone.